Welcome to Mom Life Unfiltered. I'm your host, Rachel, and I have my co-host, Ju, today. And this is a little different for us. So normally it's the three of us and we're missing Rachie. But we were in the studio and we decided, why not do it while we're here? So we're going to do our first episode, just the two of us.
Have some fun.
Yeah, have some fun. Today's Martin Luther King Day. So we'll, take a moment to reflect on that. The kids are off from school, which means it's just a longer weekend.
Especially with this horrible weather. Not so fun.
Yeah, it was, today it was 43, and then it said feels like 33.
I don't know. I look at mine in Celsius, so for me it was very cold looking at Celsius. It was 7 when I went to the gym this morning. It was no fun. Yeah. We missed old Tampa with sun and weather. Yeah, the sun didn't shine last week. It's supposed to be cloudy all week this week till Saturday. Supposed to snow in the Panhandle, so they haven't snowed in 200 years in Florida.
Really?
So that's a big deal. A lot of people are driving up.
Oh, north, just to witness the snow. Okay.
Surprisingly, a lot of people haven't seen snow ever.
Yeah. Well, it won't be good if it actually snows for the highways because there's no salt. Yeah. So it would be like a ton of people, ton of traffic, and they would have nothing to be prepared for to travel. But so how was your weekend?
Good. I finally were able to be in the pajamas all day. I haven't done this in a long, long time. So it was really nice. We watched Harry Potter since the beginning because we're introducing Harry Potter to Tommy, and ready to take a Universal trip. Mm-hmm. And
he was old enough to understand it?
Yeah, he was actually very, surprised. The reaction is really cute. And just the first ones is so much better than the last ones, in my opinion, that it's just exciting to see them from the beginning was magical.
So I almost feel non-American saying this, but I've never watched Harry Potter or read the books.
Oh gosh.
I literally, besides just from it being so popular and hearing things like Hogwarts or knowing that there's a wand and the kid's face and the glasses, but besides that, I know nothing.
The books are very well written. Sophie, I think it's in third book. My mother-in-law is huge Harry Potter. She went to London to the setting. The set is the movies, and it's just a good out of reality.
Yeah. Is it kind of similar to whenever I think of Harry Potter, and it's probably not, but I think of
Don't say Lord of the Rings.
Well, no, but remember those books with the werewolves and what was that other series that was really popular?
In Portuguese, Crepúsculo.
It was werewolves and vampires.
Yes.
With Twilight. So I think along that in the sense of, is it similar to that? Mythical magic, whatever.
Yeah, it is.
But I also, Lord of the Rings. But no, not at all.
No, I don't know. I just have a place in my heart.
For Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Well, I'll have to read it.
You should watch it.
Yeah, maybe in my next life.
When you have time.
I only say that because I don't have time to do anything. Or I just have ADD or something. Because I was driving to Bradenton yesterday. I went to visit my brother down there, and it's an hour and 4 minutes. So I was let me put on the Headway app, which is the summarizing the book in 15 minutes. And I get 6 minutes into these 15-minute books, and I just am I'm going to fall asleep, or I'm thinking about so many other things that I'm still not even listening to the book.
I know what you're saying, because I feel for me to watch a movie and not touch my phone lately, it has to be a really good movie or a really good series. Yeah. My husband and I started watching La Palma. It's on Netflix, and it's about tsunami. We just watch it for one night. The whole thing. It's 3 episodes, but we watch the whole thing, and we're we haven't watched something that we didn't stop to do something or get the phone or stop to talk about it. It was just amazing. Why you're laughing? I can see that.
We can't get through a movie because Joe can't keep his hands off of me.
That's true. So imagine how good this show was.
Right. That's hilarious. That's exactly what I thought of. Yeah. No, but I was yeah, I can't, I'm not at a place in my life where I can read. And, I was looking at people's Instagrams, and that's one thing that can keep my attention, which is not good. But I noticed, I was like, it's not so much about how many, it's not so much about being a mom. I feel like how many kids you have. I noticed a big shift in like what I see from moms who have like, I want to say maybe 4 or more kids versus people who have like 2 kids. And I feel like there's so much of a better balance with people who have 2 kids.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like you can just give those 2 kids so much more than when you have 4. Or I notice the freedom that I feel like people have with 2 kids over 4 kids. Even if it's easier to get babysitters. It's easier to ask for help with 2. Or, like with us, we have the older kids very spread out compared to the 10-month-old. But like it's not like, okay, your kids are now 5 and 6, so you can take them places, or getting to the gym or going out to dinner, or things are easier because your kids are older. But I notice
manageable.
Yeah, it's a lot more manageable. I feel like when I'm watching people's like lives, and I'm like, wow, like they do whatever. And then the reoccurring, I guess, theme that I was noticing was that all those people have 2 kids.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm a believer. I could never, ever, nothing against, my opinion, be a minivan mom.
Yeah.
You know how much my husband wanted a 3rd kid. Mm-hmm. He still asks. He's not getting it. I love you, babe, but not getting it. And I was already super worried about the 6 years gap that my kids have. Mm-hmm. And Sophie was like super helpful with Tommy, but I cannot even imagine now Tommy's going to elementary school, starting changing diapers and doing this. Like it's just so easy the way it is now with Sophie 11, Thomas 5, going to elementary, she's going to middle school. Like it's like manageable. It's I can do this. Mm-hmm. But imagine 4 you have a good gap. Mm-hmm. What's the gap between Vivian and Peyton?
Vivian and Peyton is 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah. 7. It was yeah.
So it's not easy.
Mm-mm. And then especially when you have just 2 older kids and then the 2 younger kids, it's very hard to find something that everybody wants to be engaged in at the same time. That's one part, but you roll with the punches, you take it in strides. I try to tell myself, like, just focus on the next 12 hours. Because I noticed that as a mom.
That's a good tip. I never thought about it.
Yeah, because think about it. When you try to plan days out, something always comes up that interferes with it. So all I can control truly is the next 12 hours. Whether it's a kid getting sick or just anything happening. It feels like anything that I have pre-planned in my head as of lately just never goes that way. Yeah, never. Yeah. So that's my new thing. I was like, you know what, maybe, because remember last week I said I was having a tough time being consistent. I was like, maybe I'm trying to be consistent too long. And instead of 28 days, just try to do 5. Even I was like working out, and I was like, instead of trying to, because sometimes, listen to me, sometimes I'll be in the gym, especially when I'm at home, and I'll like start to do an exercise, and then I'll like stop and I'll do another one, and then I'll do another one. And it's just like, just do like one at a time. Like I'll feel like I'm all over the place. So I think that if I just make things in smaller increments, I'll get more of what I want to get done.
It's interesting you say that, because there's this guy at the gym, nicest guy. He's the front desk. He sees me every day and he's like, say hi and everything. But I didn't know he was like always watching. And one day he said to me, hey, Ju, that was like a 30 minutes workout. Like I saw you flying through the machines. And I was like, really? Like, me thinking like I did a really good workout. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to slow down, because you're right. Like sometimes we're just like jumping one to another and not focusing and doing the right thing. So this is through the life too. Mm-hmm. Like I focused the other day at taking all the clothes of the kids that doesn't fit to donation. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I started at Tommy and it was a mess. I started at Sophie's closet, it's a mess. My mom came and was like, Ju, focus in Sophie's closet, go donate, come back, focus. And I did it, and it felt so good. Like I told my mom, I was like, you cannot imagine how good it feels to have that done and that done. Mm-hmm. Now, next is mine. I'm not excited about it.
That's one thing I love about your mom is like, that's why when she helps you pack, she makes it look like effortless.
Yeah.
Why? Because she just does it boom, boom, boom. She's not doing like your bag and your kid's bag and that she just does one at a time. Okay, done. And for me, I have the same thing. Like right now, if you go in Peyton's room, I got a windowsill of clothes from her closet that don't fit. In my room, I've got like the baby's drawer and Vivian's drawer, all stuff trying to do the same thing. And it probably, if you just would do one thing at a time, I think that's one of the first things that you learn as a kid, right? In school, like just do one thing at a time. Yeah. But it's hard to do.
Oh yeah, not easy.
You know, as like I just feel like we want to get everything done all at once. And it really probably prevents you from getting things done, you know, when you...
And it gives me anxiety too.
Me too.
Because I was like, oh, I wish this was done or this was done. No, if I focus and I do it, and I can just see like the weight of my shoulders, just like, okay, I did this, checklist. Mm-hmm. I did this, checklist. Like I'm going on a trip and Sophie is missing Valentine's Day at school. Mm-hmm. And Tommy will be here with Joe. And I was like, giving me anxiety. I was like, I need to get it. I'm gonna get it. You know what? I went there to Target, got it, put their names on it. It's done. It's right there. It's done. Last one thing. Mm-hmm. Is that how you say?
One less thing.
One less thing. Yeah. I was like, didn't sound like correct.
Yeah. That's funny because
correct my English, please.
I got the Valentine's Day this weekend too.
Just and because it's just there. Like a checklist, but not a big deal things. Like just little things that you can be done. You feel so good.
So pointer number 1 to our viewers. Do one thing at a time, right? For me, I'm going to write stuff down, make a list. I think that's a tool that's like very underrated and overproductive. Yeah. Instead of getting all these things that are like swirling in your mind, sit and take 5 minutes and make a list of all the things that you want to get done and the gratification you get when you cross things off.
Priceless.
So we've never done this before where Ju provided me with a list of topics that we want to discuss. And I actually love this because usually I don't hear much from her. So to see what's actually swirling around in her mind, I'm quite excited to dive into. So this will be our segment of, you know, mom thoughts.
Dirty thoughts?
Just deep, dirty. Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but deep, dirty mom thoughts. So the first one is intimacy. And to speak a little further, how to make time for intimacy and how to prioritize your man and make him feel special. And I feel like very much intimacy plays a huge part, you know, by itself, but then also like to make your man feel like a priority. And when it comes to intimacy, it can be the smallest thing, right? It could be something like when they wake up, giving them a hug, right? How many times do you wake up in the morning and because of your schedule with Tommy and Sophie, you know, you might be home with Joe, but did you guys take a moment to like have a moment?
Yeah, he wakes me up with a kiss, even though I'm sleeping. But I know he comes because he wakes up so early to go to the gym. Heck no, thank you. I just feel like it's very important to have the touching part. Our lives are so chaotic. Like them, kids want attention and life and social life. And just to stop, like today, we went to the gym together at 8:00. And we came in a different cars because he had to do blood work. And he came and he kissed me and he hugged me. And I saw 2 couples that were working out watching us. For the first moment, I was like kind of like a little embarrassed, but then I was like, you know what? He just showed me love. Like he took the time of coming here and give me a kiss. And even at home, and I love that because I grew up with that. My parents always like hugging and kissing. I want my kids to see that. I want my kids to see that my husband prioritized me. Take the time, even though I'm watching. Yesterday, he made hot chocolate, and he came and he kissed me with hot. Like my kids. For them, it's normal to see that. And I want to prioritize doing more because one day my kids are gone and it's going to be just the two of us. And I don't want this to die. So for me, it's, we try to do date nights once a week. If we can do date nights, we try to do lunch, and we try to work out at least 3 times a week. We try to find shows that we try to watch. It's hard. But just like little things like that, like jumping in the shower or something that will make him happy. Just like watch a football game with him and or listen to a podcast that he sends it to me so we can talk at the gym, have something, not necessarily just intimacy like this, but take the time where it's like, oh, that's so nice she thought about me. Or every time I go to a store, I send him pictures like, baby, what do you think about these pants? And he's like, it's so nice that he could be looking for you and you've been shopping with me. I do that. When I go to Lululemon, first thing I do, I go to the men's section first. It's just like little things that make them feel special. And same with Joe, like it's little things. Before he would come from a trip, he would stop at a bakery in Atlanta that I love, the carrot cake. And I know sometimes he had like no time in between flights. He would run to get the cake and surprise me. It's like nothing, but it's a big deal. Like I know he thought about it, just like little things. What do you think about it?
No, so I'm listening to you, and I feel like I know why Joe does those things. And I feel like Joe does those things because he's madly in love with you, right?
How do you do it?
No, because I'm like thinking about other people, or I was thinking, well, why don't other people, if it's that easy and it's that simple, because all those things are pretty like effortless.
Yeah.
Like they're the small things, but they mean a lot. Like even if you go somewhere and I do this and you do this when it comes to like food, but like if I go to get something to eat and I know I'm going to be with Byron, like I'm always like, hey, did he eat, or what can I get them? Where I've been around other people and like, that's not even a thought. Or I've watched on TV and I'm like, wow, like she ate without him, or they did something and they didn't consider the other person at all. And that's different or weird for me because I'm always thinking about him. And that's the same thing I get, or I feel like when it comes to you and Joe, like you guys are constantly, concerned and worried about the other person and how that person's going to feel off of other things that like you're doing. So I guess the point I'm trying to come to in this is how to make time and prioritize is one thing, but the other part of it is wanting to prioritize. And I feel like if you don't have a good relationship, or if you're not madly or deeply in love with your partner and you're kind of just going through the motions, that prioritizing them isn't going to come high on the totem pole. It's not even going to be a thought, because unless you're like madly in love, you might not feel that way.
It's going to be the bottom of your list.
Yeah, you're just not going to be that concerned with it. And I feel like people, especially that have kids, are able to kind of get away from prioritizing their spouse because they'll just pour so much of their time and energy into their children. And then you might not know that you're not prioritizing your husband because you just be like, oh, well, I couldn't because I was busy with this and that. But then, like you said, when the kids go away and you're looking at each other, you
saw all this time pass that you didn't have quality of time.
Yeah. So that was opening my mind up to like a few things. I agree with you. The little things can mean the most. Even if you find something funny on Instagram, right? And you just send it, and then like I'll run and be like, "Did you see what I sent you?"
Yeah.
And then be like, and then it's just like that laugh that you guys share.
Yeah.
Or he's going somewhere and I have a second, and hey, can I come with you? Or I'm gonna come with you, and then you have that 20-minute car ride together. Or he goes over to the gym, I'm going to go over and work out with you. Those things mean a lot. And I feel like if you make time to do those things, your spouse will just feel it.
Yeah, even like when they're cooking, like share something about your day so he's more involved about your day. So you can like open up, like as a friend too. Because I feel I can tell him things that and he was like, babe, maybe you shouldn't look like this. Babe, you shouldn't judge like that. Like, I learned so much from him, like so much, because one, it's not just cultural, because he lived in Brazil, so he knows how Brazilians are passionate with things. And it's like he's faithful and how he like sees things. Like sometimes I come with this rage.
Yeah.
And then he just like see it from a different, like, I feel like people need to put a little bit more effort on trying to have a better relationship. And I promise you that if you try to have a better effort and better relationship, like, will affect your house and your kids. It's like when I'm in a mood or bad mood or anything like that, I can see that like splash here, especially like, and the kids are tense and everything is tense. So we try to like, we have a rule since before we got married. We do not sleep mad at each other. Doesn't matter how long we have to talk. We never slept mad at each other.
Same.
Like and it's so much, sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Like, I don't want to talk. He knows I am my Italian blood. Like, give my 5 minutes. Sometimes it's more than 5 minutes. And he comes like, okay, we need to talk. And sometimes I'm like, okay, babe, like, my nerves come down. We need to talk. But it's so much lighter in the house, the vibe, the energy, instead of just being mad or not being able to talk. Like, dialogue, for me, it's a huge thing. Dialogue and respect is a huge thing in a marriage. Like, I feel comfortable to tell him, like, I did this, or just, I don't feel that's right. This happened. Like, I'm not happy about it. Like, sometimes, like, in DC, we had a talk about him going to the gym, like, 3 times a day. And I was like, hey, we have a newborn. Life changed, buddy. I need you more here, and we need more family time. And it was perfect. Like, because we talked. Imagine if I didn't talk and I was mad. Another year mad. I'm not, and one day I'll be like, you know what? See ya, buddy. Like, go work out.
But I feel like a lot of people don't have that open dialogue, don't have that good communication. And so they will just hold on to it and they will just get resentful. And then, they'll do something to kind of like get back at the person. So then they would do something that the person doesn't like, and it's like a tit for tat. And I hate operating in that space. Like, if something's bothering me,
a game.
I have to let you know, because I just can't sit with it. And I also like can't stand if I feel like if something's wrong between us, or you're mad or you're upset. Like, no, like, we need to talk about it. I'm never going to be like a passive aggressive, pretend like everything's okay and really be like upset about it, because that just will like fester inside of you and just cause so much chaos, I feel like, down the road. But I feel like prioritizing your spouse will then lead you to be able to be intimate with them.
Absolutely.
I feel like they go hand in hand.
Bring you guys closer for sure.
Yeah.
You just like start with little things, like asking about the day, did you learn anything about the podcast? Like, just try to get closer. And like, honestly, when we go on date nights, we don't talk about the kids at all. We talk about our future plans, trips. We talk about us. We talk about something that happened in my life. Like, and we talk about everything but the kids. Like, that we try not to talk about the kids when because it's us. And we try to touch each other, like hold hands, and it's just like little things. Like, I go to restaurants now, I don't even order it anymore. He knows what I like. Like, I'm like, I'm like, and it's everything I like, because it's just like he pay attention. He knows what I like. It's just little things that make me wanting to be with him, me wanting to be closer and having even a better relationship. I think he watched a TikTok or something that a woman needs to be kissed at least 3 times a day for 6 seconds.
60 seconds.
No, 6 seconds.
6 seconds?
6 seconds.
Okay.
Each kiss.
Okay.
So we were at the party, Carla's party on Friday, and he was like kissing me all the time. I was like, babe, like, my mom's right here. And then look what he said. It's like, it's funny. You can kiss me. You can dance all over me, Brazilian songs. And I cannot kiss you in front of your mom. Like, look at my mom. You know my mom.
Yeah.
She's the coolest mom. But it was just like, because suddenly like he was like constantly kissing me. I was like, what the heck? And I was like, he watched that reel.
That's funny because I remember seeing that. I don't know if it was that one, but I feel like there was one similar where it said I don't know if it will make you live longer or something. It's like if you kiss somebody for 10 seconds or hug them, there's some hormone that's released, and then it's just...
Yeah, but it was so fun. He's like, oh, that's funny. Like, you can dance all over me, but I can't kiss you from here.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like for you, it almost would appear to some people like there's no way, like it's like a fairy tale, right? But I do feel like you both put in a lot of work on your relationship and are very intentional with your time with one another, and you never don't have your date night, and that's important, because people get lost in life, and a marriage is one of the most important things that you'll ever have to continue to work on.
Yeah.
And our kids will be grown up and gone one day, and we'll have grandkids, but we'll still have our partner, hopefully. And it's just going to be the two of you for a lot. Well, the two of,
Yeah, and it's interesting too that because you're getting closer and closer, I used to be very jealous. Like, very jealous. Like, I would jealous of his time, jealous if somebody was looking at him or somebody like, how some people like especially...
You said used to, so I'm trying to figure out when that stopped because I am still very jealous. Jealous in a good way.
In a good way.
Jealous because you love them.
I would never, exactly. Like, I would never
not in a
throw
controlling
a fade.
psycho way. Well, mine might be a little bit of that, but just because you love them so much, and so you want their time, you want their affection, you want
it to be the priority.
Yeah.
And I feel like after years, there's no jealousy in between us. Like, Joe always been like, I've always been very secure, but he always like respect. He never saw things like in a mean way or anything like that. I remember one time we were in a nightclub, going to a nightclub at the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood. We were with our friends Maureen and Peter, and we went up the stairs where we parked, and we went up the stairs to the nightclub. And I look and I see this guy, and I was like, I know this guy. And for those who watch it, my age, baby, they'll see the Orange County, this show. And there was Ryan, the main guy. I think his name is Ben McKenzie. And he was holding the door, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, that was the show I would watch it, like the whole thing. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, can I take a picture? Like, I'm from Brazil, and I love you, and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, sure. And then he held me like this, took the picture, and he started walking to the nightclub with me like this. And I was like, and Joe was behind with our friend. And I was just like, excuse me, sorry, I have to go. And he's like, no, come in with us. We have a booth and, like a table. And I was like, oh, no, sorry, I'm with someone. And I remember Peter saying to Joe, like, hey, buddy, this Hollywood guy, you're not jealous? This Hollywood guy was trying to walk in with your wife. And Joe turned, I would never forget. We were married for a year. And he said, no, I'm proud this Hollywood guy wants my wife. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, my dad's a very jealous guy. Like, so I would never imagine my husband say something like that. Like, he was proud instead of being like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, get out of my wife.
But that also shows his security in your relationship together. Because most men would not feel that secure. They would be jealous, I feel like. Even they would be proud of their wife, but it's still the element of like, don't touch my wife like that.
But until like, I think a little bit of jealousy, it's healthy, but too much, of course, I feel like it's toxic.
Oh, it is definitely toxic.
Is Byron jealous? I don't think so, huh? More of your time, I feel.
Yeah. I would say, I would say I know how to conduct myself in a way where he's not going to feel jealous. Like, I'm not going to allow an interaction with another guy that would then be able to be received as an interaction that he should be jealous about. I just have learned that through our relationship, like what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, because he's very quick to tell me like how stuff is received, like from a guy's point of view, right? So
I like that.
although, us women may be a little naive to some things, like he's let me know that, men are oftentimes getting a totally different message than what we're putting out. So I've learned to just conduct myself in a way where he wouldn't necessarily have anything to be jealous about. But jealous of my time with, like, let's say, friends or just not obligations, things that I say that I'll do, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, where's our time? Stuff like that. I could see him. But I'm the same exact way.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So.
Like, I don't mind if Joe send things to my friends, or like, I actually love that my husband is friends with my girlfriends.
But you're also okay with it because your husband's not like a creep.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's not going to do anything that would disrespect you in any way.
But they're always like, there's always crazy people out there.
Yeah.
So you have to be like with their guard on. Like you can't just let it be,
Byron's not a creep, so I don't have to worry about him sending any of my friends weird messages. No, but there's been situations where he's even said, oh, I can't believe you're comfortable with that person, being around me or saying that. And I guess I don't ever look at it like that. Not so much, not because of, like, yes, I could be mad, but I have enough faith in you that I know that if this person's going to act this way,
you're not going to do anything.
You're not going to like let it go any further than that.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to give that person an idea where it's being received where like, oh, maybe Byron would blah, blah, blah.
But I do verbalize.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not comfortable. Like, I don't trust that person 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And then I feel like when I say that, I can see Joe changing.
Yeah.
Like, next to that person. Like, before he was, like, so friendly, like how he was in OTF. Like, he said hi to everyone, introduced to everyone. And if I say, like, I'm not 100%, and you can see he's just very, like, polite.
With a girl or with a guy? Okay. Well, I
Like
thought you were
him.
going to say, like, say you had a guy that was a friend.
Oh, that too,
and
but more.
Joe's fine
Yeah.
with the interaction or friendship that you have. And then you say, hey, this guy's kind of giving me different vibes. If Joe's.
Yeah, that happens too, but more
Yeah.
the opposite.
Yeah.
That I'm, like, not comfortable here.
Yeah.
Nothing
But
like,
that's,
again, dialogue.
yeah.
It's better than something happen and I get super mad and things escalate.
I think communication in any relationship, friendships, marriages, parentships, all are like the most important thing.
That's what we're trying to do with our kids.
Have a good communication. Yeah.
Just everything that we think is wrong, and like, stop, take the time, sit down and explain to them why you're not allowed to have social media. Why do you have a limit with the internet? Sophie, because I love you. Because I see things that you don't understand right now, but you will. Just like explain. And then they're like, you see in their eyes when they get it. You see like, okay.
Yeah.
And even Tommy, you can't do this. It's just little things that it makes the time worth it.
This was a fun podcast, and I'd actually like to finish whatever it was we were talking about on another one, because these were real topics that whether you're a mom or you're a woman or you're anybody could relate to, I feel like. So this was good. This was fun, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to wrap up because I have an obligation that I have to attend to. Prioritizing my husband. So thanks for joining, and
see you, bitches.
See you, bitches.